All right, here we go again. Uh, the Philadelphia corridor I see has come up, and I don't know what the plans are. I did uh, recognize it as a valid concern. So what do we call that? What is it? I guess there's another corridor there that they're looking at. We call that a security checkpoint. A border security checkpoint. When we look at Israel and we look at Palestinians, there are things we can change, things we can't change. So when we look at a border security checkpoint, that's not out of the ordinary request. But what do we need to do? How can we make it work? Because we've had border security checkpoints and things, and it hasn't worked. Again, you all need to slow your minds down. If you keep attacking me as you have been the last 2 hours, whoever you are, God will get you. And this is direct moment. I'm telling you right now. You are now being looked at for destruction by God. Thank you, Larry. Because of the hardening feelings between the Palestinians and the Israelis, back and forth, both sides, sometimes government, sometimes settlers. It's a psychological mission creep that we've seen. So, from the Israeli side, I see that the settlers have affected how the military and the police conduct their business. It's almost like there's whatever it is. Again, it could be a psyop. It could be a civil affairs, whatever it is. But there's something going on there. Whether it was, maybe just a bunch of people hanging out together. So it's not the issue of the border checkpoint, but Palestinians also have been more aggressive at the checkpoints at times, right? And then the response by the Israeli becomes more aggressive. Right? So it takes a lot of work, but it's not impossible to do what we need to do to make everything work for everybody involved. So we need to develop de-escalation, but within de-escalation does not work if you can't de-escalate the target of the de-escalation. But if you don't try to de-escalate, and which includes civil affairs programs, then you bear some of the responsibility. So if we keep a checkpoint at the Philadelphia corridor, if we keep a section of land as a border checkpoint, to ensure the future is peaceful, we need to develop methods at these checkpoints that encourage peaceful interaction. I've seen some interactions at checkpoints, and I'm just like, there's no de-escalation. And I think that's one of the differences between yesterday and today as to what's going on and what has been going on versus what was going on, maybe 15 years ago. Israelis are more attuned and more uh, pliable in de-escalation operations. Again, I bring up the corrections model of Israel. Say, like in 2005, there was some specials on television about them. Correct. So that's kind of going by the wayside. And then again, it takes two to tango. I realize that, but again, Israelis are powerful in this world. Elon Musk should realize this. I don't know what that was, but that's a little scary, too scary for me. So let's see if we can clear him and then move forward of it. And he needs to realize that there are watchers that could handle it if they need to handle it. And again, I'm not threatening him. He just needs to bring himself back in line with normal behavior if that is a Nazi salute. Thank you, sir. So again, I appreciate Egypt. When I was in the military, I was stationed in Egypt in the Sinai, and I felt that was a positive experience. I felt, Egyptians, they worked for us. I didn't feel any animosity from an Egyptian. I think my life picked up while I was there, health wise, physical fitness wise. Right. Thank you, Mary. I was in my early 20s, I guess, or something. Right. So the checkpoints are legitimate, but I think we need to do something different. That's not out of the ordinary. Good. We need to refine the system. Now, one of my plans was for IDF or whoever runs those things to work with a Palestinian entity. Now, of course, there's a danger. You don't want them to be the deciding factor, but they can be liaisons. Right. So you can have a, well, again, you have to vet people and things like that, but you could use some of the Palestinian Authority to help handle. I mean, it takes time to develop these things, it takes time to put the program together. And, you develop a cohesive bond between the units working around the Philadelphia corridor. You have some, Palestinian Authority in there, and they're there as liaisons. If there is trouble, they can help. They can help de-escalate. I brought up before how it was funny in Native American culture in Santa Fe, New Mexico, that when the police would come and try to talk to an inebriated Native American, it was very difficult. They sometimes had to go, fisticuff. However, I had a friend, a neighbor, not so much of a friend, but a neighbor that we were friendly, and she was one of them. Like, it's a matriarch culture. So when she would walk up, she could go through their belongings, their pockets, their pocketbooks, and they would just laugh and smile. So there was a way to actually do that. And again, they did that up in Canada and a couple other communities, Edmonton, I think. They used Native Americans to help with the interaction, the law enforcement interaction. They were a street patrol, right? So this is not something that hasn't been tested. Right. So if we were able to bring some Palestinian people in that we can vet, that can work the Philadelphia corridor with whoever, it's a border unit, IDF, both, whoever it is, we might be able to work a de-escalation process. Yeah, I was doing de-escalation in Santa Fe with the Native Americans before you all were even talking about it. Or maybe about the same time. Right. It wasn't a lot, but we did it enough. And again, once I discover a model of something, I project it so people can have it available to their mind, if Hashem can get it out to them. Right. This is good stuff. Well, again, the idea of having a security checkpoint, a security corridor, is not the problem. That's normal business for governments. The problem comes when the interaction. So we look on YouTube. We have evidence of things that could have been de-escalated. Maybe respect a little bit more. But again, when we start saying it's you, it's us, it's them, all we got to say is there's a problem and we need to fix it. And then once we begin fixing it, hopefully it's not a problem, especially at the level that it is. Right. Very. Just wondering when I'm going to get paid. Somebody owes me. Everybody owes me, actually. Right. And in fact, me telling you that we should have went with Omer and moved forward with his stuff, that's really payable. That was really what you needed to do, all of you. I said the same thing to Russia. Now, I don't know who sees my stuff and doesn't. Again, CIA can block anything I say from anybody. And may have caused wars by doing that. Yeah, I let it get a little too cold in here last night. A few days is warm. Well, actually, tomorrow it starts warming up. It's not going to go it's like -5 out there. It's Alaska here in Kansas. So again, I think that's where we missed the mark. That we didn't. Okay, so I was in the mine with somebody, and we kind of, somebody in Israel. I don't know who it is, and we came with this idea that we did do that. We have Arabs and Palestinians that work with IDF, and the idea is we can't go that far. We can't say, okay, you're okay because you're IDF. Well, they have a right to be a Palestinian Arab and not be IDF, and of course there's limitations on that. And one of the things that I notice is this attempt to push them over the limitation and then complain about them being over the limitation. I mean, these are not people with means a lot of times. These are people that are they're really pliable, and you can push them each direction. You just have to, Assad knows what the programs are. Shin Bet knows what the programs are. Even IDF has some programs. And I think we used to work those programs a bit. There, during a period of time, I think over the years, we can go back to when it was like it is today. But I think there was a window in there when Israel said, "Let's try to de-escalate," before anybody, even called it de-escalation. And I think we see successes. Correct. But I'm just not sure what the whole thing with Egypt is, with the Philadelphia corridor, is what they're planning on that. I mean, just negotiating with the Gaza, or is Israel going to be an active partner in the Philadelphia corridor? And I guess they are anyway. That's the way it's built, right? They have the Egyptian checkpoint on the other side. They have the Israeli checkpoint. So again, that's the way it's been. Kind of, I was surprised that they were getting things in like they were. When I was over there, they had it built a certain way. And then there's also the MFO checkpoints. It's just the depth of the Philadelphia corridor and the depth of the security corridor. That's my question, because you are dealing with a border checkpoint, and nations, routinely have, some pretty, where the crossings are. They have some pretty large facilities, because you're gonna have goods coming across like you do now, and it needs to be inspected. And I don't know, maybe it's just you just need to move the technology forward at the checkpoints. I don't know what kind of technology you have. I mean, scanning and screening and. Well, I think that's where we missed the mark, is that we didn't attempt to legitimize a Palestinian Authority, because people are against a two-state solution, but the legitimization of a Palestinian Authority doesn't mean it has to move to two-state solution. Again, I mean, that's the problem. Again, this is where the problem is, because every time we get to a discussion, we get to two-state solution. Now, the idea is not to make the Arab or the Palestinian feel like, hey, no, you're never going to get anything, right? You're under. We're going to rule you under our thumb. Kind of the Egyptian. And again, it's funny because in history, if you really study biblical history, including New Testament and things like that, Egypt does change, right? And again, Egyptian and Jewish relations were great for many years, right? So, as far, again, there's the government of Israel, and there's the Jews, the rabbis. They had a religious kinship between the Islamic people and the Jews in Israel, Egypt, for a period of time. Again, I don't completely agree with the Torah Jews. They have a point, but again, I think their point goes too far. Right. But there is a truth to what they're saying, of how it was, and we can't always just remember the bad part. So I think it's very valid. It's not something, again, so we look at Israel and Palestinian relations, and then we look at the world and we compare. So the Philadelphia corridor is something that other nations have. And, again, if we allow too much too soon, I speak about benchmarks and things like that. If you allow too much too soon, then they get themselves in trouble. Correct, Mary. And then we have a larger problem. Again, some people will do that just to fail at it. So we need to make sure that this thing moves in a certain order. Well, you could have on the other side of the Philadelphia corridor a Palestinian checkpoint. But if there is no commingling, then we don't get to that level of having a Palestinian authority person that might be able to interact with a Palestinian with a little more success. Again, using the assets that we have to our advantage. So again, in the spirit of de-escalation, that's the only issue that we see. And again, the Palestinian might be wrong, the IDF or whoever might be wrong. And again, the idea of pointing fingers doesn't really get us somewhere. So when we see a problem such as that, we say, well, how can we fix that? How can we make things work? Thank you, Larry. Thank you, sir. And that gets us forward. So I don't know. Like again, I don't know if Russia saw my stuff. I posted to Russia to tell them not to go forward in the posture that they're going. That would be a very dangerous war, a very harmful war. I told the Ukrainians the same thing on I guess it was Twitter back then. Correct, friend. Thank you, Larry. I'm gonna try to make some beans and rice. Yeah, I fell asleep early last night. I kind of was up a couple times, but I think my sleep was sufficient. Thank you, friend. Well, the idea is if we get the rockets in, then there's if they get rockets in, then there's the the things that could where it could escalate to, and it doesn't do a Palestinian well to be launching rockets, but it doesn't do it an Israeli well to egg on and to infuriate Palestinians, especially if they're just trying to come across a border or something, go to work, that kind of thing. So de-escalation saves lives. De-escalation saves money. Right. De-escalation increases security. It really does. Now, you don't want to get to the point where they feel like they can do anything. That's where de-escalation goes wrong. Right. And I think we have some of that going on in Europe. And they being they, just the proverbial they. No, the black beans and rice are coming out great. I start with the no salt beans, but I add a little bit of sea salt to it for flavoring. But that allows you to choose the amount of salt that you use. To me, it just tastes better where the beans aren't initially salted. Right. You can pick my life up. Y'all need to start picking my life up. You should have picked it up 10 years ago at least, right? Instead of doing what you all have been doing. Spent a lot of money in destroying my life and my health. I mean, it's an unlawful use of funds, and that there's no doubt. Correct. And you've allowed these people to wire into my life, they're going to be destroyed. And they get mad because even before I knew anything was going on, they were dying while they were doing this to me. 100%. Now these people are all out of control. Been out of control. Yeah. I think Elon Musk would do well to understand that people are watching that are concerned. and that's it. Hopefully that fixes it. Well, when you have that kind of money, you have your own security force. You feel like your own nation, maybe. I don't know. So again, and you need to remind him that there are people that are bigger than his security force. Correct. Just so he keeps himself in line. So I got this basmati rice. Now, if you allow people to stalk someone, they can wire to the person and abuse them. And that's happened. And it's over. I just understand it's over. The guy will seek out destruction. I mean, you're paying people, they're getting paid all this money, become millionaires and all this shit. Just off of hate, man. Just want to hate one person or 10 people. And everybody's got so much money, they just keep. And a lot of it's stolen from the governments. It's embezzled money. I mean, Assad knows U.S. agents are embezzling money. Maybe there needs to be a reminder on that also. Now, there was nobody carroting and sticking me in any way, shape, or form. It was actually the opposite. They were using carrot and a stick in reverse. So again, when I say they put me in a pain syndrome, what starts happening is your body starts cramping up from the stress they're applying. Again, here in Kansas, they used illegal stress operations against a disabled person, psychological warfare, psychological operations, spycraft, to stress out their victim in an attempt to force their victim to commit a crime. So for 2 years, Kansas was Nazism. Kansas was Stalin. There's a price to pay for that, all of you. God will take care of it. Thank you, Larry. I know you're Nazis, all of you. I know you get off on being Nazis. We'll just see if Elon Musk is one of you. I mean, you're feeling big and bad because people dump money into your state and let you do whatever you want. It empowers you, all that money, and the cops are dirty. Y'all feel powerful, right? Well, we'll see just how powerful you are when God comes in and looks at you. I believe they're Nazis here in Kansas. I believe that's their motivation. Now, the whole thing where conservatives aren't Nazis are bullshit. Right. I think the operations, I don't know who was doing it, but I believe the anti-Israeli, anti-Semitic operations were moved by certain conservative elements that are Nazis. So take the view, we're the pro-Israeli, we're the pro-Jew. They're not. I don't believe they are, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Elon Musk is not a Nazi. We'll see. Now, Mossad needs to move on that now. Not only Elon Musk, everything else I'm talking about. I think it's the point they're getting off on it. They're like freakish about it. Gives them sexual pleasure. But we go to church. Oh, we know what goes on in church. We see it in the news. We see all the people getting arrested. Now we need to move on that immediately. We need to rout out the Nazis. Well, Trump's in there now. He doesn't need them. Rout them out. No matter who they are. Wherever they are, you rout them out. It's over for them. You discover a Nazi, then it's over for them. I don't care who they are. So God needs to look at that. Needs to find them. We don't need them anymore. God, God. The shin emblem, God. Destroy them. Utterly destroy them. Enough's enough. You find a Nazi, you destroy them. Whatever it takes. Enough's enough. No, I was tortured at a high level. They meet their end. Period. Billionaire and no billionaire support. If you have to crash the world economy and do it, I don't give a shit. If they don't stop, then we don't stop. Do not allow the Nazi movement to move 1 inch further. Kansas is Nazi. Used to not be, but it is now. Yeah, it was messed up last night because it got cold in here, and I had my humidifier. I didn't fill it up. I'm surprised I needed to fill it up with water, but it burned out quick within a couple of hours. Thank you, bro. You focus. That's it. We don't want Nazis anymore. It's over. Nazis gone. Poof. Destroy all the Nazis. Now, there's Nazi movements in the Democratic Party that are just stupid kids. You can change them easily. Fine. But again, if you can't, you have to make it non-beneficial to be a Nazi. Make it non-beneficial to be a Nazi. No, we're just gonna check people out. That's all. We're just gonna check them out. No more Nazis. Nazis gone. Poof. Well, there's no doubt in the conservative wing, there's a bunch of Nazis that are hiding and trying to point at the liberals. They may be the ones that actually cause the liberals to be radicalized. Right. I mean, liberals are stupid, and they're notoriously stupid for taking the bait. Right. And radicalizing. But conservatives are doing it. No, we have to make sure that doesn't get out of control, because in 2 years, Trump's going to have trouble if you can't allow a coalition. Trump won by a coalition. You can't allow a coalition to form because it'll destroy it. It'll be the same thing in reverse. That's pretty much what happened. They talk about, that's one thing I disagree with Bannon. I think there were corrupt votes, but I believe Bannon won because Trump used the same mechanism to win. And it worked. That's actually the biggest proof that Biden won is that Trump actually used the same method and it worked. Right. The question came up already: can an incumbent actually win? And Trump doesn't have to worry about that because he's his second term. But, well, again, there's civil affairs programs, there's psychological programs that if we just kind of sit back and say, we're not going to cut our nose off to spite our face. Right. We're not going to do things that are detrimental to us just because we want to hate an Arab or something like that. I think we can find those programs and make something work. Agreed, sir. You need to remove the Nazis. They make look. I was in law enforcement. They make statements against Jews all day long. I know who the cops are. They didn't know I was Jewish. Hashem showed me things. My name's Lawrence Moore. I'm not Jewish, of course, right? I'm Lawrence Moore. I'm a Christian, right? Jesus Christ, well, the place where I worked, they attacked Jews. Fred Karp was a Jew. They attacked him for being Jewish. Correct. Then they came after me. And they found out I was Jewish. Rick Henry's a Nazi. Should be destroyed if he's still alive. He's a government Nazi. Probably molested his own children. Actually, they were stepchildren, I think. And now that worked, right? Thank you, Larry. Now Kansas is Nazi. Not fooling me anymore. Actually, you weren't fooling me, but they'll know now. Assad knows. Shin Bet knows now to inspect Kansas. Destroy any Nazi element. They could be in Oklahoma, but I found it less. And I think maybe that's because they're bigger Christians. I mean, it didn't work for me, but maybe because they're bigger Christians, they have more consideration for Jews. They're more evangelical. Poof. It's that easy. Poof, gone. Ring, ring on the phone. Poof, gone. End them. They tried to kill me again. End them. I got well, and they launched an attack. Kill them. Kill their operation. We got metaphorically and metaphysically. They're Nazis. Running sexualization operations against Jews. I think it's funny. Just show them how funny it is. Ring, ring, phone, gone. Poof. It's across the world. Get busy. Ring, ring, poof, gone. They think they're funny, little Hollywood Nazis killing people, thinking they're funny because nobody's coming against them because they have police departments. But we can handle those Nazis. Ring ring ring, poof, gone. That might work better in the Philadelphia corridor and all those type of operations. So we get rid of these people and their spy operations, whoever they are. Yeah, it's too clouded. The spy world's too clouded with clowns and billionaires and millionaires. We need to straighten things out and get rid of the Nazis. Ring ring, poof, gone. No, Nazis need to go. That's it. It's over. Ring ring, poof, gone. Having fun, Kansas? Having fun? Now, if you're CIA, then ring ring, poof, gone. We're not here to play Nazi games in CIA. Need to cleanse CIA, make it work again. Make CIA work again. There you go. So again, the Philadelphia corridor is definitely something that keeps everyone out of trouble if we do it right. Correct. If we do it wrong, it can increase because again, you get on the YouTube, the valuable tool that Hashem gave us. We look at the interactions, and if you're pro settler or whatever, maybe you feel that it's right. But again, if you look at it from the law enforcement perspective and how we do de-escalation, and how, again, de-escalation also helps us find people that are, let's say, Palestinian that might be able to help us with what we need to do. Right. Again, we shouldn't force people to be Israeli patriots, that are Arabs, to accept them. Right. I mean, we don't want to see over a certain line. Again, lawful behavior, lawful conversation, that kind of thing. Well, you could actually sit there, and I don't know if I guess people massage should know this. You can sit there and monitor somebody, and you can actually push them to be a terrorist with your mind if you have that kind of power. And then you can do some things psychologically along with that metaphysic. But you'll hear people say, "Oh, that person's this," and you see no indication of it, and all of a sudden that person becomes it. That's what they do. They're devils. Here in Kansas, they're devils. Ring, ring. End them. Get them out of here. Do whatever it takes. If they walk off, then they walk off. They don't walk off. Ring, ring, poof, gone. Just like you did to the other Nazis in the 50s and 60s. End it. We don't want them. If it's Elon Musk, then fine. I don't give a shit. You think I care about Elon Musk if he's a fucking Nazi? He needs to go ring, ring, poof, gone. No, that was a little too scary for me. That doesn't look like an accident. It looks awkward because he's a weirdo. But I'll tell you what, that looks like a Nazi salute to me. I don't care what the ADF says or what ADL or whoever they are. JDL says it looks too scary. JDL says it looks too scary. He needs to be checked out. If he doesn't check out, then too bad. Not here to play games with millionaires or billionaires or whatever the fuck he is. That's too scary. That's too scary. If he made a mistake, then that's what he did. If he intended it, then that's what he did. Don't pull any punches. He gets treated just like everyone else. 100%. Remember, the Nazi salutes hit the chest up. That's what he did. 100%. He hit the chest up in the Nazi salute. Twice! And will be the third time that's a charge. Move Mossad and Shin Bet now. Start visiting his security people now. Well, stay peaceful.